the last time I spoke to Kurt, which we'll go through a little bit more in detail later. But the context of it was I was at a tattoo convention with Lady Rackets in April. Many people saw us at that convention because first there was a news crew there. Well, I think all the pictures were from the news crew. And so, of course, we show up at the convention, trying to stay low-key at the time. It was July, shortly after the arrest. And there's a news camera right there on everyone walking in. There was no avoiding it. And someone found it and posted it, which wasn't that big of a deal. It was not a problem. It was just kind of funny because, like, trying to stay low-key, but, you get caught by a news camera. That night, I talked to Kurt on the phone very extensively. And a little bit later in the show, when it's appropriate, I'll give you the theme of how that conversation went, which I haven't talked about too much, but that's okay. Holy shit. The real Lady Rackets is even in the chat. So that's fun. How you doing, girl? Nice to see you. I mean, I just saw you like a second ago, but nice to see you again. Of course.
Nick, you need to be careful about saying the phrase in April, just saying.
That was a bit below the belt. That was a bit below the belt. Lady Raggeds, do you not have a... Oh, you don't have a membership to the channel. How can I hide stuff from you if you have one? You're getting called out right now because it is based algorithmically on how much you watch the show, particularly live streams. And so, catching you lacking, girl. Lady Raggeds, you're busy with our kids. Sure you are. Probably.
On April the 12th of 2025, Mr. Hardin filed a Minnesota Judicial Branch copy request form, which we requested evidence submitted through the system by Nicholas Rekieta, including but not limited to the 2 files that Nicholas Rekieta's own lawyers put on the docket, which is just kind of hilarious, right? His own lawyers are the ones that filed it. So this entire situation.
Yes, because Minnesota law requires you to do so. And so Kurt's, this entire, let's see what he says.
Is being created by a cell phone. So if
it's not being created by a cell phone, Kurt, it's the literal legal requirement of the state to put proposed evidence into Mendez prior to the hearing. If you were to not put proposed evidence into Mendez prior to the hearing, it will not be able to be offered or accepted under the rules of practice established May 1st, 2025 in Minnesota. You must do this. This is a required process. I'll give you a little bit of leeway on not understanding the nuances of the process. But before you go ahead and call out a lawyer who actually practices for a self-own, you should maybe understand that you're procedurally fucking retarded and you don't understand that he has to do this. It's not an optional thing. It's not a thing he did by mistake. It is the requirement of being a lawyer practicing in Minnesota. I know it's hard to get through your head, although less hard because there's no insulating ablative hair plating protecting it. But you need to try a little bit. You get some leeway for not being a Minnesota attorney. You don't get a leeway for being autistically retarded and wrong, which you frequently are. And the fact that no one has called you out on it for years and years has much more to do with you being so obviously autistic that it would feel mean than anything else. But I digress.
If this gets released, it's because Nicholas Rekieta wanted it released because he's the one that filed it. So,
Want is a strong word. Being resigned to the possibility of it having to be released to preserve a legal issue is a different one. Thankfully, we were able to resolve it without that happening.
There's that. So the irony could be very thick, my friends.
It could be if you were correct, but you're not, which is the problem that we run into all the time. And again, no one wants to call you out on it because they're scared of hurting your feelings. Because when your feelings get hurt, you lash out at women because women are small. That's what you do. Diceana says, isn't Kurt a patent attorney? Kurt is not a patent attorney. Kurt worked for the U.S. Patent Office for a while. He is no longer working there. He was not a patent attorney. In fact, up until recently, Kurt had never drafted nor filed a motion in court at all. He had never argued a motion in any case. He had never argued at a hearing. He had never presented himself in court unless it was to represent himself. And I'm not even sure he did that. That is something that Kurt never really told anybody, as far as I am aware. But that also happens to be true. Kurt was a licensed attorney, and all licensed attorneys are fully capable of doing that. He did not, however, do that until recently, in which he was hired by someone who appears to have stolen tools from someone else. Though they were not convicted of the theft itself, the tools were returned to the original and presumably correct owner of said tools. And Kurt's client, who at least attempted to convert or steal the tools, it appears, is suing the county for returning the tools to the actual owner rather than to the attempted non-owner. But that is the first case in which Kurt has written and filed anything with a court in any jurisdiction on behalf of a client. And that happened earlier this year. That case is still ongoing.
Oh my God, it's my unintended consequences again.
The unintended consequences of this is you're making an ass of yourself because you're actually incorrect. And you're carrying on about it, which is funnier.
The unintended results of my actions are coming back to plague me once again.
They're not.
What are the odds? Good times.
Listen,
On May
the unintended results of my actions, that waiting room is full. These are not that. That's the funny part here. You have infinite number of things to roast me on, and you chose that one? Okay. Good job.
the 1st of 2025, the Candy, Ohio District Court approved Mr. Hardin's request for access to the record. Specifically, the court noted it reviewed the evidence and was aware of the contents of the evidence, stating that 2 body cameras exhibits request to display unredacted displays of children who were present during the search warrant, along with viewing all rooms and spaces. We're perfectly comfortable having the children, blotted out if that's the issue. I'm pretty sure.
The children's privacy doesn't just extend to their faces, right? You're talking about wanting to look in their rooms. You're talking about wanting to look where they hang out, at their private things as well. The Fourth Amendment doesn't cover your face, but it does cover the right to be secure from unreasonable searches and seizures of your person, places, effects, and property. My kids didn't do anything in this scenario. They don't deserve any of this. And you can't be like, oh, your dad's a total screw up, so your privacy's fucked. It doesn't work that way. And what is required on this is just a tiny bit of thought into it. What requires you to think the way that Kurt thinks is density, anger, and a lack of maybe some things that would calm those down. I did make a mistake that I want to correct really quickly. Just so I said May 1st. It was actually January 1st. Here we go real quick with this. This is the Minnesota Digital Exhibit System, which is hard to find. I know this is hard to find. You type in Mendez into Google and you can find this info right on the Minnesota Judicial Branch entire subheading about this system. But as of January 1st, any documents, photos, or audio or video recordings you want to offer at an evidentiary hearing or trial, called exhibits or evidence, for a judicial officer to consider, must be submitted electronically before the hearing or trial through the Minnesota digital exhibit system, unless the court has ordered you to submit exhibits in some other way, or the exhibit contains sexual content or nudity, including internet address linking to those materials. So that being said, that's it. I know it's fun to call it a cell phone, Kurt, and make fun of lawyers who actually practice or whatever, and make fun of me because I'm so dumb and I never get anything right. Funny, you were happy to suck my dick on stream all the time about my legal takes. We would get into all sorts of erudite legal discussions, and you would tell me how I had interesting perspectives, how I was correct on the law all the time. Suddenly, I'm never correct on anything, right? You're wrong on this, and I can prove it, you fat bitch. But again, keep talking about it.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Hardin would be also happy to have the children's images, blurred out or whatever. I don't think.
Maybe you could have stopped at having the children's images, because if you want the truth, it's not that Mr. Hardin wants this. It's that that's what people want. They want images of the children. They want images of the children on a really, really horrible day. That's what they want, because they think it'll be humiliating to me or something like that. That will somehow be great, is to do that to the children to get to me. There's plenty of ways to make fun of me and get to me. It's been done for a year and a half now. But that's what they actually want.
I think that's the issue. Okay. But again, even if it is the issue, it's Nicholas Rekieta who did it, right? Nicholas Rekieta.
No, actually, I didn't take the body cam footage, and I did not change Minnesota law to make someone else have the ability to access it.
It is the one who filed the body camera footage.
The body cam footage was not filed. It was uploaded, Kurt, to the system. Read the fucking thing. All you have to do is Google one thing, and it's the thing you're talking about, and you didn't do it. Which is kind of like that Supreme Court brief that you got fired before you filed, where you missed the main issue. The main issue. And ChatGPT tried to tell you, and you couldn't handle it, so you chimped out.
It's like, if his children are seen, it's because Mr. Rekieta put his children's images on the file.
Nope.
Yeah, that's okay. So that's the stupid continues to burn. Due to what the court deemed the sensitive nature of the contents of the footage, the court allowed Mr. Hardin to view the evidence in person rather than view the evidence remotely.
And Mr. Hardin chose not to do that, and to instead send people as proxy, when Mr. Hardin could have easily traveled to the courthouse and done it himself. Instead, he chose to send other people, which I'm sure was Mr. Hardin's choice and not at the behest of his client or the frothing mob that just can't get over it. And that may come up at some point in the future as well. But interestingly, the person asserting their right in this case, who is saying that his rights have been trampled, was allowed to see the footage. He just chose to send someone else instead, which is kind of curious. Ben Ryder says, Nick, are you going to practice law ever again? Potentially. At present, I'm focused on stabilizing my YouTube streaming, making sure people know that I'm here. The hardest part is getting the notice out, and that's on me also. Like, I'm not blaming other entities like YouTube or whatever. I'm blaming myself. Consistency of streaming is really, really important. And until I am consistently streaming, it's hard for YouTube or anyone else to know where things are. I've been working on that quite a bit, trying to stabilize the schedule and stream consistently at routine times. And I'm not quite there. So that's my first goal. After that, we'll be doing the CLE requirement that will get me my license back, and then we'll proceed on. Lynn Britton says, I like Kurt. I like you too. I have no problem with people liking Kurt. I don't like him. And it's not about what he said about me. That I really don't care. He and Nate were involved in a discussion that really, really pissed me off at a time when I was really easy to piss off and really hurt by some things that people said. They got some things wrong. I was able to squash that beef with Nate immediately, no problem. talked it out. I apologize for the things that I said. I've long forgiven that discussion. It doesn't matter. It's something that gets brought up all the time. And I think there's something else. I don't really care that they laughed when they thought I was going to jail. You know, I did at the time. I was angry. I was angry at a lot of stuff. I was angry at me, mostly. But I was angry at other people. I was angry at people who called me friends that, you know, I would have been happy to provide information to so that they could get the story accurate. And they chose not to take it. And that's fine. But it did make me mad, of course, right? Like that, I think that's understandable. But that anger has been let go. Now I don't like Kurt because of myriad other reasons that I overlooked for a really long time. Particularly how he treats my friends, particularly how he treats women, and particularly who he offers his pizza casserole and wine to. These are things that I find objectionable and have no desire to associate with. And it's the type of thing that I would never have associated with. I wasn't really aware of the pizza casserole thing until more recently this year.
According to Chalkworth, the answer is no. This was error. Sure. There's a common law access to judicial records. I'm getting really pissed. I'm actually getting pissed at this point in this brief. I'm getting mad.
You shouldn't be emotional about this, Kurt. The reason you're emotional is because you want me to lose. You've wanted me to lose for a long time. I said earlier that I would offer a little bit more about my last conversation with Kurt, which was a 90-minute phone call in a hotel hallway. That conversation effectively boiled down to jealousy over Kurt's perception of my relationship situation. Finding it unfair that my relationship status at the time existed and his did not. Ever since that phone call, in which I did not in any way insult Kurt or demean him, or nor was I rude to him, other than to say some things, man, I can't talk to you about right now. Some things I can't say to you. I can't tell you everything. But other than that, I attempted to answer the questions that he had as best I could. Some of those questions involved the privacy of other people, which I was not going to disclose to Kurt. And when Kurt doesn't get what he wants, he gets angry. And Kurt was on my side up until that conversation, which was around July of last year. It was not around. It was in July of last year. I have been trying for years now to help Kurt be presentable to the opposite gender, whatever that may be. I don't know what the opposite gender of a refrigerator is, but I know that he's cold and stuffs a bunch of food on the inside. So I think that's what it is. But I don't know what the opposite is. But I've been trying to help him out. He never followed any of my advice or tips, and that's fine. But then he was mad at me for what he lacked, which I had nothing to do with at all. Only ever tried to help him. If you want to know the secret, there it is. If you want to know why Kurt's incel rage suddenly manifested in late July and continued on, slowly declining from that point to where he was laughing at the prospect of me going to jail, even though we had expressly negotiated that out with the county attorney. If you want to know why, that's it. Why do you get 2 and I only have 0? Okay, Kurt.
Let's be honest, the only people pushing for the body cam are the subhumans who are disappointed by the extent of your downfall and are unable to jack off as a result. These shit stains just want you in a ditch so they can laugh at your corpse while hiding behind fake righteous indignation. Fuck them all. People can be mad, but pushing for your utter destruction and humiliation is disgusting.
I mean, I was utterly destroyed and completely humiliated by my own choices. Like, that happened. I didn't need any help. I didn't need any help. But it's the internet, and that's how some people are.
You know what would be really helpful? What would be really great is if he started citing it. He's like, oh, it was in It was in the motion to dismiss brief, silly Uncivil. It was in the motion to dismiss brief on page 7 at line 4.
It's not
he
there.
Clearly said, as shown in the body cam footage, here and attached, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, now I remember.
Again, credit where credit's due. Kurt is rightly frustrated by this. And despite Kurt's reasoning for being frustrated, which I think is his generalized anger at my poking, which again, he's rightly frustrated. I'm not saying that that's improper. But regardless of the source of his frustration, he wanted this to be better. He wanted the release of the body cam because he thinks, like other people, that it would be humiliating to me to have it released. Okay. But that's what all of this is saying. Like, it's plainly obvious. It's kind of funny because I think he would try and argue that he's neutral on the issue, but he wants it out. He wants it released. Of course he does. That being said, his legal analysis here, though frustrated, is frustrated but correct. He's got it. This brief is no good. Are you saying after Kurt's divorce, he sought your advice on love? I don't think Kurt was ever married. I think he said he got close. He was engaged maybe and broke up, if that's what you're talking about. Or if you're just talking about like me and him not being friends anymore. No, at the time, that at all times I spoke to Kurt, we were friends. I think he was frustrated with the last conversation I had with him because he wanted information that I wasn't going to disclose to him for numerous reasons, but mostly because he was asking for information that involved other people who have asked to be private. And I wasn't going to share or disclose that information to him. And sorry. And he asked me to answer for perceived hypocrisies, in which I provided what I believe was my personal defense of those perceived hypocrisies. And that's, I'm not changing the way you look at something isn't necessarily hypocrisy. Right. And so if he didn't like those answers, that's okay. Like, he doesn't have to like the answers or me or anything else. But that is the genesis of where this began.
Unless that exciting 6-part test derives from the Constitution of the United States, guess what impact it has on Minnesota? Fuck all. Fuck all would be the answer.
That's funny.
So
whoever said Kurt isn't funny is wrong. I don't know if Kurt always knows why he's funny, but he is occasionally very funny. It's why I talked to him and liked him for so long, despite many glaring things that I may have overlooked at the time. And for people that were affected by me overlooking those things, it became more and more apparent at the time leading up to my arrest. When I would bring Kurt on, the numbers would drop significantly. People would message me or say in the chat very clearly, I can't watch if he's on. And, I was very defiant and stuff in those times. And so I would just say, hey, fuck off. I'll have who I want on, which I still believe and adhere to. But I didn't consider all the reasons why people were frustrated with me having Kurt on. And he did abuse some of my guests in ways that I think were not appropriate and very frustrating. And then the most important thing is, if you're going to abuse a guest, you have to consummately make up for it by being wildly entertaining. And he didn't do that.
The state said explicitly that they weren't going to use the statements against, what's the whore's name? What's her name? I forget.
What's he going to say here? This will be interesting. He forgets her name. Okay.
I want to say Ashley, but that doesn't sound right.
How deeply have you been reading, Kurt? I wonder if you're going to confuse April with Ashley. That means you've been heavily researching the dramatic elements of the subject and not just the legal elements. Why is that? Why is that?
Against the whore. So yeah, they said that they
Wow. Wow. And there it is. Someone who's never spoken to or about Kurt, who has not commented publicly on this situation at all. He refers to as a whore. Wow. Little bit rude, if you ask me. Where is that coming from? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Why do you get 2 and I get 0? It's not fair. Okay.
said they wouldn't use the information, so it's fine. April, thank you. I knew it was an April. I couldn't quite come up with it. April, thank you.
No, see, instead of referencing Aaron Imholt's ex-wife, you referenced his first ex-wife by first name, which means you've been reading beyond the legal issues. So curious for that juicy, juicy drama, aren't you, Kurt? I don't want to get involved. We're at Incel Statements 1 so far, and this is, of course, this counter is sponsored by Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop, in which the incel statement at question is him calling a person he's never met, nor even spoken with, and has no reason to believe a whore, which would state very, very frankly that she had sexual intercourse in exchange for money. I'm not aware of any such scenario in which that took place. But hey, you know, I guess Kurt thinks so.
You know what mistake kind of happened earlier today, incidentally? I don't know why this happened, but I was like scrolling YouTube as I do, and there was a clip from Alyssa Clips with Nick Rekieta, and like, I mean, I don't know, man.
What happened? Did you watch it? Did you accidentally click on it? Like you couldn't help it?
I don't feel the need to address anything he says because he seems to do a pretty good job every single time, to my mind.
I do a pretty good job every single time to his mind, and that's where we end the stream. Nothing else he says is relevant.
Basically showing everything he says to be crap. There's
Except you agree with me on this entire analysis so far. So that means everything you say is crap too. Oh my gosh. Synchronicity, Kurt.
nothing for me to do. It's like I just let the man speak and he takes care of it for me.
Yes, I do. We take care. Here at Rekieta Law, fully endorsed by Uncivil Law. And thank God for that endorsement. I was worried about whether or not I should continue, but Kurt says that it's all in my purview and that I take care of it adequately and he does not need to comment. So perfect.
It's sad in its own way.
I know. It's really sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Facts. In May 2024, information came to the attention of the Candiac County Sheriff's Office that Nicholas Rekieta was in possession of controlled substance. He sure was. He was also in possession of a woman that didn't belong to him.
All right. Okay. The incel energy has just dramatically increased. I'm sorry. In possession of and woman who didn't belong to him are some wild statements. I think that counts as 2. I think that counts as 2 incel statements at once. One, that I would be in possession of a woman unless I were, of course, like someone could theoretically be in possession of someone if they were involved in human trafficking or slavery, right? Which I was not, to be very clear. But also, a woman who did not belong to him. The belonging of one person to another is a weird perspective. Very, very weird. So we are going to go ahead and mark that as 2 incel statements. So that puts us up to 3 incel statements. And again, the incel statement counter, along with all counters, including your countertops, is sponsored by Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. Find out how to stuff your chick and chicken in one convenient location. Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. Thank you for sponsoring.
And at the time, belonged to another man.
Belonged to another man. Again, he's going to do this a lot, I think. We're up to 4. Belonged to, at the relevant time in question, the time of the arrest, those two were separated and pursuing divorce. So I don't know that belonging to someone else and condemning them to remain with said person who has admitted to physically abusing the person that they presumably owned, has admitted on a live stream to that person was being, that the person that belonged to them was being just too loud. And so he admitted to squeezing her forcefully against her will and without her consent until she would just be quiet because she was just too loud. This is not an allegation. This is his description, because they were arguing and the kids were around and she was being just too loud. So he needed to squeeze her until she was quiet against her will or consent. And also to gingerly press his forehead hard into hers so she would understand she was being too loud. She belonged to him though, right, Kurt? Whew. This incel statement counter is going to go up quick. I have a feeling. Ben Ryder says, wait, for real. Yes, this is beyond allegation. Again, this was his explanation of the event. His personal explanation was that they were arguing. She was too loud and he needed her to be quiet so the kids didn't hear them arguing. So he squeezed her until she was quiet. It's on his own live stream. Look at how salty he is. He's not mad about drug possession. That's not his problem. He's in possession of a woman who didn't belong to him, but belonged to another man. Who have you been talking to, Kurt? I wonder who it is. Oh no. Did I hack the Googles?
Suppressing these statements made by April, the whore, in Malte, subsequent to her Miranda and
There we are. 5 incel statements. Again, calling a woman he has never met or nor talked to my knowledge, a whore for no apparent reason. Amazing. Who have you been talking to behind the scenes, Kurt? You sound like someone. Who do you sound like? I wonder. Maybe it's the man she belonged to.
recording of the Steel Toe Morning Show, Holla. Detective Pomplin.
Holla. Oh, very interesting. It's very interesting. Who have you been talking to, Kurt? Who have you been talking to? The person who so abused his ex-wives that both of them made statements about physical abuse. Both of them. Both of them have expressed fear of this person. Holla, right? Like, he's all good with you, right, Kurt? I'm not surprised in the slightest because Kurt fucking hates women. He hates them. He hates the idea that any woman might like me at all. He hates it. He is so in his feelings, so jealous of the concept. Why don't I get one? They're mine. They belong to me.
On April the 21st of 2024, the omnibus hearing was held. The court asked defense attorney what the issues were. When the issue of...
Wait a minute. What was that little Freudian issue? Who's on your mind, Kurt? Why are you thinking so much about April? This is weird.
Body cam footage from the search warrant execution. On April the 21st of
April the 21st? I thought it was August 21st. Very, very strange. Who's on your mind, Kurt? And why? Why is that? What have you been doing lately?
2024, the omnibus hearing was held. The court asked defense attorney what the issues were. When the issue of Mrs. Inholte's statement, otherwise known as the whore, was
Good Lord. Wow, we have now. I don't know that his longing thought that made him think of her instead of August counts, but he did call her a whore again, which brings us to 6 incel statements, and I have a feeling this is going to keep going up. Life in general says, starting to think Kurt is a communist or just a spoiled brat. First, he threw a tantrum over you not sharing money. Now he's pissed you didn't share April, and the wonders why people don't play well with him. Well, I mean, anyone who looks at a woman or man and decides that they should be owned or belong to someone else is wild. Unless that person, I guess some people could be in a consensual, submissive relationship in which they consider themselves to be owned or belonged to by someone else. Like I guess that could happen. I'm not aware of that in any instance that is relevant here.
Someone said, can I not be a disrespectful pig? Well,
again, be disrespectful to me all day. Why are you mad at April? He has no reason to be mad at April. He's not involved with anyone involved. Well, he might be. He might be involved with someone in this situation, but he's not involved with anyone in this situation in the way that would allow any reasonable anger towards April. Nothing at all. Nor Lady Raggeds for that matter. Right? Like there's nothing here. He has every reason to be annoyed with me, and predating me making fun of him, he still has reasons to be annoyed with me. That's fine. I've never suggested that he shouldn't be annoyed with me or mad at me. I suggested that it was frustrating when he made false statements about me and took glee in the prospect of me going to jail and stuff like that. I didn't think that was very friendly behavior, and I had not done anything to him at that point. Since then, of course, I have mocked him over and over again, and will continue to do so. I have no reason to stop. But he has no reason to be mad at anyone else in this scenario at all, unless he's joined forces with another person with a similar potential status in the penile area.
you can put a dress on it, but a pig is still a pig. It's...
Yeah, you are. Someone said, can you not be a disgusting pig? That's really funny. As Kurt would say, self-own, which is also an interesting thing because I know someone else who makes the self-own joke. Who have you been talking to, Kurt? It's really interesting that he would do that, but this is a self-own because let's listen to the question.
Someone said, can I not be a disrespectful pig? Well,
so he's the pig, right? Like that's the implication of the question.
You can put a dress on it, but a pig is still a pig.
Self-owned right there. Yeah, Kurt, we know. How many times do you put dresses on?
It's like, I mean, that's a dumb comment.
Is it?
Would you prefer I call her a vacuous free use slut? I mean, I could do that.
Vacuous free use slut. And now we're starting to get into Kurt's porn preferences. Free use is a category of pornography. Also, Kurt, how deep are you involved in the lifestyle, or do you want to be? Because that is another term that, if not associated with pornography, is associated with lifestyle behavior. Lifestyle is a coy, general term that encompasses the exploration of maybe alternative or taboo sexual fantasies or kinks if you don't know what free use means, as either a porn category or a lifestyle exploration, it's the same thing. It's the idea that you have a standing consent agreement for some period of time, maybe even forever, whatever, with someone else, that at any time, you have consent to sexual activity at any and all times, hence the free use. Yet again, I'm not aware of any such arrangement by anybody that I know at all in my entire life. So his assertion that she is a free use slut is not really appropriate, nor accurate. That's very, very incel energy, and we are up to 7 incel statements at this point. Look at the anger towards someone he has never even met. It's crazy.
Instead, if that's more of a nomenclature, although she did use cocaine, so arguably she was being paid in cocaine, or so. I mean,
arguably she was being paid in cocaine. Again, these, like, the level of fantasy involved in these people's assessments of someone that they don't know in a situation that they don't know is unreal. And let me just go ahead and tell you flat out that Kurt knows that that's not true. He knows that that's not true. Which makes him a massive pile of trash. Absolutely unreal.
or she was paying in cocaine.
Or she was paying in cocaine. That now we're up to 9.
I don't know. It could have been.
You don't know those factual assertions that you made, because Kurt, as you know, factual assertions about specific activity, particularly criminal activity, in which both prostitution, which is being compensated for sex directly, not in some indirect manosphere way, but directly, and the distribution of drugs, also in exchange for sexual activity, are illegal. And you have accused two people, well, one person directly and one person by implication, but maybe more than one person by implication, of engaging in that criminal enterprise. And you've now said you don't know, which means you entertain serious doubts about what you're saying.
Rackets, your crazy stalker is in the chat. She got one of my gifted membos. Find her and ban that psycho. Timid Tiger something. She deleted the message before I could boot her.
Timid Tiger is a rather insane person, but Kurt here is engaging in defamation of potentially a public figure, also potentially a private figure who has been silent for quite some time, by asserting specific acts that have that happened that are criminal in nature, when he knows for a fact, or has been given reliable information, that that is not true, which is very, very disgusting of him. But it also just shows that he's a giant incel bitch.
A lot of things, but I don't think me being disrespectful is the problem here. I really don't.
You don't? Again, you're not being disrespectful to me. Be disrespectful to me. You're being disrespectful to someone who you have no connection to, except for that kind of glaringly obvious connection that you have subsequently made.
Also, she's a disrespected person, so fuck her.
A disrespected person. So since other people have disrespected someone, it is now sufficient to disrespect them as well. Which, I mean, that's an ethos.
Or I would have, but Nick Rekieta took care of that for me.
I didn't disrespect her at all. I would never say those things in any capacity. That's crazy.
To be honest, so I think she's got that covered. Defense attorney, after expressing concerns.
Again, the person concerned about the status of this woman is the person who has obviously been talking to her abusive, self-admittedly abusive ex-husband, borrowing phrases and expressions from him, reveling in calling that person's ex-wife a whore and other names. Very weak energy, bro.
Maybe just use her name. No, I prefer whore or slut. No, I don't think sluts and whores don't get names.
There we go. That's 3 more statements. He prefers whore or slut. Sluts and whores don't get names. Amazing. Why do you prefer those? Again, what interest is there for you in any of this? This is phenomenal. I haven't seen this, by the way. I heard some nasty things were said. That's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I haven't seen this, but I was reading the chat. Let me be extremely specific. I was looking at this on mute because I wasn't in a place where I could listen to it. I was reading his chat, and many members of his chat fully endorsed this, completely on board with it. So it's good because Kurt will always have an audience.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. You know, they don't get names. Yeah, no, that's okay. Oh yeah, no. Nick Rekieta's wife was also doing all that stuff too. So if you want to say that about Nick Rekieta's wife, that's true too. I'm just.
Oh, is it? My wife was also doing that stuff too, and you said that's true. So again, making a factual statement about someone who has wanted to be private. This is a woman he has met multiple times and who is nothing but exceedingly kind to him. Nothing but exceedingly kind. Who, by the way, did not engage in said activities, Kurt.
Just talking about April right now, but yeah, I mean they all were breaking vows.
What vow?
And yeah. So yeah, all those things. Yeah. Yep.
Very interesting take from someone who is unaware of any vows or the breaking thereof.
And I suppose also Nick Rekieta is also a slut, and also
yes,
Steel Toe is also a slut. They're all sluts and whores.
Maybe, I don't know. They're all sluts and whores. I'll take on slut gladly, happily to do so.
Yeah. So, but I need to.
Again, disrespect me all day. I don't care. I'm sorry, Kurt. Did I have too much sex for you? I apologize. I apologize that I exceeded the Kurt sex threshold. I need to get specifics from you, Kurt, on what the Kurt sex threshold is, where observational consent has been exceeded, where 2 people go, I consent, and a third person goes, well, I don't. Nobody asked you.
I need a way to distinguish them if I'm going to not refer to any of them by name. Because if I call them all sluts and whores, it's going to get confusing.
It's also wildly defamatory and very inappropriate in general. Again, of a woman you've never met, who's never said anything about you at all. A woman you have met who's only been kind to you. Me, I don't care if you call me a slut or a whore. Like, go for it. Plenty of people can make that determination based on things I've said publicly. Go ahead. It doesn't bother me.
Using who I'm talking about. I'll figure it out. Well, we could call one DS9 whore. We got DS9 whore, blonde whore, steel whore.
So we're now up to 15 incel statements. He's getting wildly personal here again. The only person involved in this situation who tangentially affected Kurt is me. Whose actions, and not these actions, by the way. the actions of getting arrested and, you know, having this public scandal tangentially affected Kurt, because Kurt is someone who has, you know, like been associated with me and stuff like that. And so I guess by the barest tangential association, I will be very clear. Kurt never engaged in any degeneracy with me. In fact, when I was engaged in various degeneracies and Kurt called or texted me, I ignored it entirely or told him, not now. I'm not going to talk to you right now. That happened plenty of times because, you know, when I was engaged in various degeneracies, I didn't want to be anywhere around Kurt, the most depressing monster on earth. Holy shit. Bring Eeyore to the strip club, will you? No. Dear God. Whew. That being said, nobody's activities in any of this, other than my tangential effect on Kurt, affected him in the slightest. So this is crowing about something that is not relevant to him.
Grown-ass women do grown-ass things without permission from anything pretending to be a man. Grow some balls, Kurt, and stop expecting adults to toe your line of stupid expectations.
Nailed it. Nailed it. This guy right here is going to tell you how women should behave. Can you imagine? Holy shit. I can feel vaginas getting female circumcised sua sponte across the nation right now. There's a psychic wave of vaginal crying out at this moment. I'm going to tell you how to live. You belong to some alleged man.
And coke whore? Is that unambiguous enough?
I think I'm the coke whore.
We could try that.
I think I'm the coke whore.
Well, we'll give that a try. See how that goes.
I'll take it again. I'll take all the whoring accusations you can levy. To be clear, the membership counter I'm going to update, or the incel statement counter I'm going to update as we go, as I can. Any statements he makes about me, I, of course, am not including, well, so far, I'm not including in the incel count. He can call me a slut and a whore all he wants. I don't care.
Concubine whore. Yeah, wife.
Concubine whore. So that's a new one. New incel statement. Again, neither being technically accurate, I don't think.
Wife whore and concubine whore.
There's two more. I can barely keep up.
Maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's the way to go, Kurt. By the way, to anybody asking me to stop going after Kurt, no, I won't. Not a chance.
And allowing others to access based on the...
There we go. There's the answer. It was done by court admin. I wasn't sure if it's court admin or the court clerk, but it's court admin. By the way, I have lingering suspicions about the source of various leaked documents. And I'm not entirely sure that the mislabeling only of the body cam footage in this case was an accident. Lingering suspicion. Who knows? Maybe it'll come up somewhere. He wasn't calling your wife a coke whore, was he? That would be below the belt even for Kurt. No, coke whore was applied to me. That was what he said. Although he did say that she engaged in those activities referencing to the exchange of cocaine for sex, which is absolutely not true and insane. So if you want to do that, if you want to say that he did, like, you can. He didn't expressly say those words. The term coke whore was me that he was talking to.
April remarried? Well, I don't care whether or not she remarried or not. Also, if I were her new husband, what's the saying? You can't shake the whore tree and expect a wife to fall out?
Whoa. 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 Whew, we just upped the incel statements. I wish the incel statement count could accurately capture the incel rage that's going on. Like, I'm not a huge fan of that term, but it is here. I mean, it is legitimately at this point, I think it is safe to sufficiently call this whatever incel rage is. This is it. I mean, this is someone who is so clearly angry at women for making decisions that do not affect him in the slightest. In the slightest. Women who would never give him the time of day either, but never be rude about it. They would never be rude or mean to him in any way. At least one woman who has asked me, maybe, maybe even in light of everything, maybe, are you sure you want to do this? I wonder if she'll have the same opinion now. That's something I guess I'll have to explore. Chad Parsons says, to be fair, you did call the judge in the Montegraph suit a fucking moron and then act surprised when you don't have local friends. That judge was removed from the bench for being a fucking moron who didn't know the law and acted in a retaliatory manner against several colleagues, lawyers, and defendants. Openly prejudicial towards defendants based on various statuses that they possessed. That judge was a fucking moron. I don't know, though. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Also, you're surprised you don't have local friends. One, I'm not really surprised I don't have very many local friends because I don't go out and socialize locally and haven't in several years. I mean, like I may go to events or whatever, but I'm not running around trying to make friends. My friend-making capacities were aimed in different directions over the past couple years. So that doesn't really surprise me. But do you make friends based on how you think about local judges? Like to me, that's way more interesting. Like if you're like, man, if I called a local judge a fucking moron, I mean, I wouldn't have any friends either. Bro, there's other reasons. Let me just suggest you may need to explore the other issues that are present because I don't think that one's actually driving people away.
When this issue of, what are we calling her now? What was our latest version of this? The succubus's statements were reached.
The succubus? Do you know what a succubus is, Kurt? A succubus is a medieval excuse for a man cheating. Because what he would say is, I was lying there in bed, sleeping innocently, and a demon from the nether hells came up, and I was forced by the demon's coercion to have sex with it. Also, it was a big titty goth girl, but with bat wings, and it was hot as shit. And like, as much as whatever is true, like I don't think anybody involved was a big titty goth demon from hell who came in the night and then came in the night and then made me come in the night. I don't think any of that happened. But yes, that was a medieval excuse for men cheating, was to create a demonic entity and suggest that the demonic entity tricked them viciously into sex and then took their sperm. This is a really important part. Took their sperm to an unwitting sleeping woman and impregnated her with the sperm. Very clear how succubi came about. What are you talking about, woman? I didn't have sex with that peasant girl. It was the sex demon that stole my semen in my sleep while I was just happily and unwittingly dreaming about you and our love together. And then she put it in that peasant girl. This is the same. Women had the same thing, by the way. An incubi would be the male demon that would come and force himself upon the woman while she was sleeping and miraculously got him pregnant, and the baby was black every time. Like, this is so great. I love the folklore around incubi and succubi because it's so funny. It's so blatantly apparent what it was for. But no, there were no demons were harmed in the making of this drama, although some of them may have liked it. Again, I think Kurt is mad that a succubus hasn't visited him in his sleep.
The issue of the wenches statements were not addressed in the
so much anger at women, again, who are not involved with Kurt in any way. I mean, which describes pretty much all women. Wenches is also a very, very interesting phrase. Who have you been talking to, Kurt? Who have you been talking to? I know someone else who used that phrase. And I know another person who told that person, hey, maybe we need to work on how you talk to women because it's kind of killing any mood that could possibly exist amongst any person ever. Drier in the Sahara every time you talk.
Is it too late to file an amicus in this thing that they've had oral argument? First of all, I need a Minnesota attorney to file it for me.
Yes, it's too late to file an amicus brief to answer your question. I think you know that. Second, you would have to demonstrate what the amici's interest is. Third, the last time you were hired to file an amicus brief, it didn't go so well. So I don't know about that.
But if I write an amicus, you think it would help? It can't hurt.
Or wait, maybe it wasn't an amicus. Maybe it was a petition for cert. I can't remember if it was a petition for cert or an amicus in support of a petition for cert. One of those two, either way.
Hurts at this point. I'm not sure anything can save this appeal at this point, but I could try. Does anyone happen to know?
I would love nothing more than for Kurt to try and help the appeal. That would be that would have everything that it could possibly have in it. That would be something.
An attorney in Minnesota who would like let me file or sponsor me for pro.
Wait, so are you going to hire an attorney in Minnesota or hire an attorney to sponsor you pro hoc vice so you can file on behalf of which amicus would you be filing on behalf of? Who would be the party? Would it be a pro se amicus brief? Not sure which one it would be.
Hoc, or so I can file a brief.
Who would your client
Reach out to Hardin. Well, Hardin's lawyer himself is pro hoc. He can't do it. Yeah.
Hardin's lawyer is not pro hoc. Both Hardin and his lawyer are Minnesota lawyers. They could sponsor you, both of them. They're both licensed in Minnesota, and they could sponsor you pro hoc vice. They could get you in there.
Hardin's lawyer can't do it because he himself is pro hoc. He can't sponsor me.
Incorrect.
So, Bruce Rivers. Dress right. She also claims to submit briefing. No rule near criminal requires pre-set situations. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, great. So.
I love it. I love it. I love it. He says it's bad. He doesn't even read the brief. Kurt is so angry. So angry. He doesn't know how to channel his anger. He's trying to hide it, right? Claiming that he'll be objective, trying to do all that stuff, but also just randomly lashing out at two women who have never in any way harmed him or even been in a position to cause him harm. One of whom specifically was kind to him, even though he smells disgusting and is horrifying to be around. And I can personally verify that, and so can several women who have been in his presence. Unanimous decision that he is insanely disgusting and creepy to be around. From every single woman I know who has been around him. All of them. Chad Parson says, and we did not go out of our way to call the judge a freaking moron. Again, not the judge in this case at all. And that judge was a fucking moron who was removed from the bench because of her specifically freaking moronic behavior. Vindicated. Even though it probably has a lot to do with why the search warrant that she approved was executed and why it was signed in the first place, I'm guessing. So dumb move on my part. Criticizing a government official. The Elusive Fan says, my favorite part of that is that Kiwi Farms accused you of having some kind of pull to get her debenched. If I had the pull to get that judge debenched, I would have had the pull to utilize the judge's improper actions literally during the time frame in which she signed the warrant. Those actions were retaliatory actions against people who spoke out about or acted against her or, defied her in any way. Included lawyers, included plaintiffs and defendants, included other judges and other colleagues, included court staff as well. She retaliated against everybody. That was the accusations levied against her, and it was literally during the time that she signed that warrant. If I had the pull to get her debenched, or my family bought the entire county to get her debenched or whatever, do you not think that the charges would have been dropped because of that action? Like, do you not think that that would have happened? Why do I care if she's debenched or not? I care much more about whether or not I have a criminal issue. That's crazy. Why would you use your pull to get someone removed if it doesn't profit you in any way? The Citizen Ham says, I thought Kurt was wrong, Nick. I've said he's been right about so many things in this video. I don't understand where you would get that. When he is wrong about certain things, he is wrong. Yes. And when he's right about them, he is right. I'm not sure where that one is. I didn't make a blanket statement that Kurt was wrong. I jokingly said that everything that Kurt agrees with me on is crap because Kurt said everything Nick Rekieta says is crap, which is funny because he agrees with me on a lot of his analysis. So that was a joke, though. Someone said, isn't Kurt a real lawyer? What's really funny about this is the gulf in experience practicing law between me and Kurt is monumental. And I haven't done much at all. He just has done so much less than any lawyer I know. It's amazing. It's amazing because I don't know. Did other people know this about him? Like, I didn't know. I never looked into it. I didn't really care. I was having discussions with this person who had a different perspective than me on other things. I found that interesting. But like, if you want to go with the, like, Nick, you're not a real lawyer or whatever, like, okay, that's fine. The amount of legal work I've done in reference to Kurt is almost, it's several orders of magnitude more. It's almost infinite because up until recently, the amount of legal work he had done was 0. Now it's some smidge above that. Awig says, no, he lied about arguing cases, which I don't know of any specific instance that happened. I don't I'm no problem believing that it did or not. Like I'm not aware of them, but my impression for the longest time was that he was a practicing attorney of some sort, that he had done some legal work. And it turns out that was not true until recently this year.
We poor baby. Kurt called a spade and a whore 22 times. Maybe don't open up your marriage. Stop being a cuck, admitting you miss April.
Okay. None of this affects you at all. Or Kurt, but all right. Nagadashi Tomodachi says, if Kurt is always wrong, does that mean you'll lose? I mean, logically, that would be what that would mean. But I didn't say Kurt was always wrong.
Be a huge inhibitor.
Except to the extent that he agrees with me, because I'm always wrong, which is what he said. which is funny, because he agrees with me on quite a bit of things.
Do you think that mushy queer Josh Moon is obsessed enough with seeing where your kids sleep to take this all the way to the Minnesota Supreme Court?
He has indicated that he is. He has indicated that he is obsessed enough to do so. He may have, also said something that he really shouldn't have, but we'll see if that comes up.